beginning of all the games here. This will make or break the gameplay in the game. Like you mentioned, man, we have to see if the Hospital Madam does make an appearance and which heroes will be used to try and make that happen. Because with the fast of the Oasis getting changed right here, it's not going to be as simple. And I think a lot more focus can be put into the jungle as well. Because as you mentioned, flex picks can move into the jungle. And with the change towards the Retribution, towards the Lord that now does more damage, what you pick and what you use in the jungle becomes even more important.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, get your snacks, fasten your seatbelts, because I welcome you on this marvelous international journey that we will start. We will start it right now, actually. We already started it with this amazing first match where Team SMG, the home defenders, are going up against Team Nightmare, who might, just might, give them nightmares tonight. So, we right now see that the draft already started and the Guinevere is already banned alongside with the Matilda. So maybe, yeah, that's an indicator that we might go towards the hospital meta. But on the other side, there is the 1-1 and the Arnold. So far, Naisu, I see that there is no focus on a certain role.
Here's the thing. I'm glad Guinevere's banned out, right? So, because Arashi, you were there, you saw how MPLI went and everything. It was picked up so much. So now this leaves us to that, right? What is going to change here? What is the priority? Especially as we talked about how the supports have changed, even with the flash of Oasis change, right? What do teams want to lock in first priority-wise? Arashi, you probably have a better answer to this one.
I think we've seen a lot of teams prioritize the gold laners, because in the late game, that's what really matters. And there's a very limited amount right here, especially with SMG banning away the 1-1 and the Bruno as well.
Yep.
It seems like they're trying to get something that's advantageous, but also maybe it's a bit of a fighter-centric kind of draft, because with the emphasis on marksman, usually you want to have tanky heroes that can only be taken down by the marksman. And for Nightmare, they're banning away a lot of these support heroes with the Guinevere, but as MG, they're showing aggression right here, picking the Joy that is no longer as safe as it used to be, now more vulnerable to crowd control. So we'll see if Nightmare go for it, try and go for something that can really shut it down. Maybe a suppression.
Maybe we'll see something different. You never know. Maybe we'll see Menstar coming up. Maybe we'll see Kufra being picked. Even suppression heroes, as you said. Maybe we'll see a Franco or a Kaja. So what I've noticed while I was like making my studies about Team SMG is that they don't like to go up against Bruno at all. So it's not, mostly it's not that they are adapting or like taking a pick from the enemy. They are not just, look, for me, how can I explain this? There's three types of draft for me. There is target ban, and there is the meta ban, and there is what you cannot deal with ban. So I don't think that Team SMG can deal with the Bruno. That's why it is banned for a long time for them. But so far, you'll see that the Fram is joined in so fast alongside with the Benedetta.
Okay, I like the fact that they picked up the Faramis, right? This is a hero that constantly gets picked up just because of the way that you have the Netherrealm now, you can count on that. But I love the fact that we saw the Benedetta, right? First phase from Nightmare for now, which technically, like you mentioned before, like we've seen history-wise, it can be somewhat flex. But let's just go ahead and assume that it's going to go in the XP lane. Great, flashy hero. You can split push as well with it. But that begs the question, what if it does go in the hands of the jungler, right? What if it does go for too easy for Lexi? He likes to opt for these more aggressive assassin-style play style in the jungle. That could work for them here. But the response, Lilia gets picked up as long as the Terizla, as well as the Terizla.
And those are great options here to punish the Faramis pick. We've seen it just rise in popularity, especially MPLI. But now with the Valentina available, it seems like SMG won't go for that. Don't seem that they feel like they need to deal with it. So they go with the Terizla to really go in for a combo. And then they have this Lilia right now with AoE, technically DPS, a lot of magical damage again and again. So the Netherrealm from Faramis, it's going to be a big weapon for Nightmare, but it also can be something that SMG can take advantage of to really shut them down here.
And also, like, just if, the Valentina was still available for Team Nightmare and they managed to transform this Faramis to the Roaming Beauty, I think that it has a lot of ultimates on the other side from Team SMG. There is the penalty zone and, like, tons of other ultimates that haven't been even revealed yet. So it is a good choice for them, but I don't know if it's gonna make up or like will it be good in terms of taking damage from Team SMG, because so far the marksman is not up yet, or like the gold laner is not up yet, and they already have a lot of damage. Martis being in from Team Nightmare, and the first phase of drafting is done.
You know what else is a surprise as we wait for the second phase here of bans is Nolan is still open, right? Nolan is a
really?
a hero. Yeah, it's a hero that teams love to just go ahead and take that risk. Okay, we see a swap. I don't know if that's actually happening, right? So
Magic.
As we talked about the Vendetta, that's out of the picture right now. We don't know. We'll have to confirm later. But with that being said, now you have the Martis there. I was asking about the jungler matchup, and now if that's the case, then you focus on the utility. You focus on those that objective play style and kind of build around that. We'll see once again, once we get through this second phase of bans, really how they want to round this out.
I think for Nightmare right now, it's just a great combination. There's a lot of damage built in, and especially with the Netherrealm, a big issue is that in the early game, sometimes you lack damage. You can survive, but you can't really output enough damage to take your opponents down. With the Martis in the picture, that's a whole different story, especially with the resets coming in from the Decimation. I think that might be enough to really push SMG away. Unless they get something big, some big teamfight ultimate, they can really deter the whole roster of Nightmare from really fighting and contesting that neutral objective.
Well, do you think that after banning Hilda, do they want to give the jungler a little bit of space?
A little bit of space. I mean, it's possible, especially for the Joy right now, a lot more vulnerable to the Hilda. That is definitely something they're considering. Along with the mid lane, high wave clear presence here with the Lilia, there's a lot of chance for SMG to go with that 3-mana roam strategy, and then from there focus on to the EXP and gold lane.
Yeah, but Naiso, after we see that the drafting phase is totally finished, I can tell that Team Nightmares are mostly afraid of the rumor because they have Matilda in the ban, Angela alongside with the Minotaur, and also the Kufra. So from Team Nightmare, I don't know if that's a plan to just like take some options from Team SMG's rumor or not, or will it be just focusing on some picks that will stop them or like will make them stumble during the game? After taking that suppression hero out, I don't know what SMG is planning to do.
Ooh, they go for the Cho right here, though. That's just exactly why we were talking about it earlier. There seems to be a Roamer showdown, and it's going to be a Teresa in the hands of Jasmine, trying to bring the spice here. Big AoE combos from Nightmare against the pickoff, the damage, the burst coming in from SMG.
This is like the OG tank, basically. Tigreal I feel like at some point when everybody picked up Mlbb, they played Tigreal. That's what I would assume, right? And with that, it'll be interesting to see if it actually works that way, if it actually works out here. Once again, I was also wondering, right, do they actually have that Khalid in place? It was not the Vendetta. We'll find out once we load in. But interesting lineup here, guys, and it looks like it is.
Yeah, after seeing that both teams have already made it up and already like put up their final touches, let's say, and having all this perfect draft. I don't know who to lean towards, but now heading into the land of dawn, we will witness the first game and the first match in the M5 wildcard here in Malaysia, in SMG's hometown. We will see that Team Nightmare is up to the test, and Team Nightmare are now heading to the jungle.
Oof. They're in the hot seat for sure, and early on you can see SMG here just pressuring away the members of Nightmare as much as possible. The Tigreal, man, this is why it gets so confusing. The Joy is now weaker to crowd control, and with the Tigreal changes a few patches ago, that crowd control comes out more suddenly compared to usual. So that is something that Team SMG needs to be very careful about.
Yeah, they want to bring up surprises, and even since the beginning, you have just said it, and also Nice said it, he's an OG tank. He has been here for a while, have been here since the beginning. Tigreal being picked by Team Nightmare, I think he's going to add a lot to this match, and there will be a massacre happening between both teams, Team SMG and Team Nightmares.
Well, we have to see, man, for SMG right here, the fact that Miko is on the Cho means that he's going to be so slippery, so difficult to catch. He's going with the agility and the wilderness blessing, so he's going to be as tanky as possible, but he wants that mobility to maybe bait out some spells, some engagements from Nightmare Esports. Maybe that will be a window for Sasa on that Joy to just come in and deal a big amount of damage.
And right now, I think this is the term that we can use and say it is the calm before the storm. It is the silence before the storm, because so far we are 2 minutes in, and there's not even a try to invade, to go inside the enemy's jungle, or to do anything aggressive against the opponents generally. So we are 5 seconds away from the next turtle. Who's going to take it? We're going to see.
It's going to rely a bit on the EXP matchup as well, but you can see no one is level 4, and this Khalid is just struggling a bit slightly. He has regen, but the damage reduction on the second spell here is just not as strong as it used to be, so he needs to be a bit more careful.
Okay, now that the turtle's up, first one of the game.
Ooh.
Looks like it's going to be a full force. Jasmine's going to go in. That might be the focus. Penalty zone to jump in, finds 2. Too easy for Lexi. Will be able to get the turtle. Still going to be fighting for it. And they back off. No bodies dropping, but objectives secured for Nightmare Esports.
Everyone's still safe, but the turtle goes for the favor of Team Nightmares. And even with having that turtle, there's no much to add to Team Nightmare.
That's crazy. Jasmine able to just push multiple people away from the turtle. That is something that Tigreal can do really well. And I think Team SMG were just caught slightly off guard there. Miko went in for a play as well, but with a Netherrealm, just wasn't a chance. So they're playing it very safely here, knowing that later on, Sasa can be a lot more impactful compared to too easy for Lexi on the Marcus in the mid to late stages of the game.
Yeah, we want to see some kills, we want to see some action happening in the Land of Dawn, because so far it's just like so peaceful in the Land of Dawn.
This could be it right here, Yasu. First blood from the hands of Stormy. You can hear the crowd go wild for it. First blood in the hands of Team SMG.
Team SMG gets their first blood, and now they are sending a hostile message. Look at Miko is going back.
Smooth's gonna jump in once again with the penalty zone. Soul should be fine, even with that revenge strike, and they go ahead and disengage for now.
Look at how aggressive Jack is on the Khalid, man. Just going in with the Raging Sandstorms. That's a big engage tool, and for now, he can't afford to do so, but later on, he needs to be a bit more conservative. Whoever lands the bigger ultimate between Jack and Smooth in the EXP lane, that can really swing the tides of the battle. For now, even though Nightmare Esports technically has a lead, Team SMG are the ones with a bit more of a gold lead, so their farming patterns, for sure, is a bit better compared to Nightmare Esports.
And right now I can see that there is like a little bit of poking each other. They are trying to get some of that HP from the enemy's team, and also like to break some shields from the enemy's team. So Team SMG so far is a little bit peaceful, as I told you. Even though they are now defenders, I think they have to be the most aggressive players. And so far they haven't shown their teeth yet. They haven't shown Team Nightmare what happened in the finals and how were they so aggressive.
I think this is a big problem for Team SMG. If they mess up here, the resets, the decimations is just such a big risk. For Nightmare Esports, it's not exactly the same kind of deal, but look at Miko.
Miko's gonna go ahead and zone them out the best he can. You also have now, still, Turtle's gonna reset. So, interesting that they went with that. Jack is just around the corner. The biggest thing Team SMG has to look out for is implosion with the Raging Sandstorm combination. That's Jasmine flickering in with it. Still going to be going for it now. Turtle for the taking. Jack finds Sasha. Flicker penalty zone comes through. Too easy, gets the turtle, and they have to battle it out now. Smooth in trouble. Multiple bodies chasing him, and he will go down. It's Jasmine again.
He's down. Everyone is now down. Team Nightmare gets the turtle, and they also get the fight.
Oh, Miko, he's in trouble here. Gonna get dragged, and Jasmine gets another kill on this Tigreal.
That is just crowd control advantage at its best. You would think that Jasmine on the Tigreal is going to be a bit too telegraphed, too easy to avoid. But right there, he just gets the play onto Sasa. And of course, Jack with a great follow-up. The fact that they have 2 Purifiers also means that they have a lot more ways to really bait out spells from Team SMG and turn it around. The Netherrealm as well, right there, really just messes everything up for Team SMG. If they were able to get the Martis, then that maybe that fight could have went in a better direction for them.
And maybe if you looked at the statistics, Team SMG, every time they lose the early game, is so hard for them to come back again. So Team Nightmare now have the advantage of the kills, but there's no so much difference in terms of the gold, and everything again goes back and scrolls back to the safe zone. There's nothing happening in the Land of Dawn right now except for people waiting.
Miko gonna find his target. Jasmine has the Netherrealm there, but it's multiple bodies. Here comes Cammy with a blazing duet. Gonna force them back a little bit more. No one goes down. Nightmare Esports saves Jasmine.
Oof. That's going to be the way of the Dragons burnt out. So now there's a chance for Nightmare Esports to really turn it around. But look at the damage of the torn apart memory. That long range is something they need to be a bit more concerned about, especially later on when Sasa has some more items to work with.
There's not a certain strategy that's happening right now. No one is going like for, I would say, protect the king. And the king here is the marksman. No one is focusing on the gold lane, neither the XP lane, neither somewhere in the map. But they are just focusing on the neutral objectives and getting the best use out of them.
Funny enough, if you look at the turret situation here, it's even until Sasa now takes one down. But look at Soso.
They're trying to get it out. Sasa with a clean torn apart memory, able to get the kill there. And that's exactly what they need. Turtle now up, 2 in the hands of Nightmare Esports. Team SMG wants to fight this. Miko gonna get away the dragon. Jack goes in the raging sandstorm. They find Miko. He falls. Ignore the turtle. They go. Smooth goes in. Finds too easy for Lexi, and now they should be able to go ahead and get this turtle.
Man, that's a 2-4-1, but the turret falling down in the bottom side. And the turtle isn't guaranteed secure just yet. Seems to be a bit of miscommunication between Jasmine and Jack. With how much your opponents move with the Sacred Hammer right there, that Raging Sandstorm might just miss. And that could be catastrophic for the side of Nightmare Esports.
Whenever you do mistakes, you have to deal with the consequences. And right now, Team Nightmare are dealing with the consequences of the miscommunication that's happening within the team. So far, they do have a turret. So far, they are ahead in kills, but they are not taking the best use out of it. So it is not...
Miko, once again, gonna find Jack. Can't really do much there. And then Flex as well. They grab another kill.
Easy kill for Team SMG right here, but Wind of Nature, rushed by Sasa, knowing how important that physical damage immunity is. And now with the Sasa as well, has the Holy Crystal, so Joy damage is going to be ramping up pretty nicely for them. This is where Nightmare Esports need to be a bit more careful, because now Team SMG, they can absolutely strike back, and they might get one more turret in the bottom side.
It doesn't feel like it's the way of Dragon more than it is the way of Miko. So far, Miko is dealing a lot, or like making a lot of fancy ultimates, but right here, it is so nasty. They just took out, they just stole Faramis' ultimate. They just took it away from him even before the Lord comes, even before any action happens. Team SMG is just using their momentum and getting more and more and deeper into the game.
Miko knows, once again, Jasmine going to spot him out. So we'll be able to hold him at bay. But the job here for Team SMG is that tier 1 turret. They get it down. They're 30 seconds away from the first Lord.
And they are taking whatever they want. It's like they are walking in a garden, and whatever they see, whatever they want, Team SMG gets.
Looking at the items right here, we've already mentioned it a lot in the previous times we've been on duty here, but the Clock of Destiny just isn't as good as an item anymore. With Enchanted Talisman though, whoa, Jack!
Jack's gonna heal back up the best he can. The Saxa has the damage, takes him out in the 1v1. Now will also take the purple from the hands of Nightmare. Right now, Team SMG is in full snowball mode.
Saxa, Sassy, you can call them like sassy players, because right now they are just showing off. Right now they are just melting enemies down. They are melting Team Nightmare down.
Gonna be another one. Implosion gonna be used with the blazing duet. That's the combo they're looking for. They take out Miko, but can they survive the fight? Stormy gets a kill, and they're on the run. Body after body's gonna fall from Nightmare. Team SMG answers back.
It's a big combo, but it isn't as clean as it needed it to be. And Sasa will just basic attacking again and again, outputting an insane amount of damage just like that with the Lord. A 5k gold lead, and you can really see the disparity in experience here. Nightmare Esports look lost, and they don't really see a way, at least an easy way, to really come back in this game. Let's take a look at the instant replay by Kadia, where Jasmine lands a 3-man implosion. The Vision Duet comes in as well as the Mortar Coil. But afterwards, when they went with the Netherrealm, Sasa is just all the way in the back. And look at that damage, dude. 4 hits, and anyone in the back line, anyone that's not a tank, just gets deleted.
Yeah, that's when the goal difference speaks. That when the strength actually speaks. And right now, Team Nightmare are buried by the mistakes they have done throughout the early game. Right now, they are in the defensive mode. Right now, they are behind their inhibitor turrets.
Right now, they got to deal with this Lord. Is only the first one. Should be able to make quick work of it, as Nightmare does. But are they going to lose anything more? Saksa going to jump in behind enemy lines. Will back off, though. So right now, Nightmare holds on to their turrets for now.
They didn't really use the waves as efficiently as they could right there. Fortunately for them, Nightmare were able to just defend. They have the chance to use the Nether Realm there to try and prevent a tower dive situation. So Team SMG do the right thing, played a bit safely for now, but here's a problem for Nightmare now. They have to deal with so much damage. There's a Joy, a Lilia, and a Brody. So unless they get all these core members, core damage dealers from the side of SMG, it's going to be very difficult for them to come out on top in a fight.
Still going for it. Another clean kill. Stormy does it again. There's the kick with the way of the dragon, the way of the Miko. Jasmine the target. He falls in the jungle. And Team SMG is relentless right now.
Right now, Team SMG cannot do any, or like Team Nightmare cannot do anything against the force of nature. Right now, Team SMG have a huge ton amount of damage that Team Nightmare cannot take in. They are just getting hit it one time after another.
Gonna lose their base turret here in the mid and the bottom. Nightmare hold on to the top right now. Team SMG knows the lead they have. It's nearly 9,000 gold, and it's showing. Miko gonna get dragged, still has the immortality though. Taking a couple shots, he won't go down. And right now, we're 14 seconds away from the Lord.
Nightmare Esports, man, they're trying to defend, but with too easy for Lexi on a Martis, and yet being 0, 2, and 4, he's just way too behind right here to really do anything meaningful. The Team SMG, they will most likely bait Nightmare Esports out of their base for a fight. If they fall for a combo in the middle of the jungle where the AoE of Stormy will just do an insane amount of damage, this could be the end, or it is the beginning of the end.
Right now, I think that there is something that I always used to say is whenever it is their game, you cannot give your back to the other team because right now, any mistake can cause you the game.
This could be a mistake here. Too easy for Lexi. There's the penalty zone. They're going to find it. Nether Realm already going to be used as well. Soul can't get away from Stormy as he gets the double. And now they're ready, full force. They might not even wait for the Lord here. Team SMG with a massive lead. I set on the top lane.
Well, Sasa moves all the way up there, so they're not going to be brute forcing it just yet. They're going to bring in 2 waves at the same time, more or less right here. That is the right way to try and mount an aggression to end the game. But look at Saksa coming in alone.
Saksa going to push them back. Jack is trying to heal up. There's the kick from Miko. Cammy goes down. Another body going to drop. And this could be it. Team SMG trying to push in. Jasmine trying to buy some time. He does well for now. Lord making his way. Soul able to find one. Smooth chasing him down. It's Stormy working on the crystal. And they can't stop him. Team SMG.
It is the first game happening here. Team SMG takes it back home. The first game goes for Team SMG. They have done it. They have made it. Consistency always beats talent. And right now, they have consistency. And right now, they have the talent. And right now, they have the first point of this match.
It is match point definitely for SMG, showing why they are absolutely the favorites and showing that they can come back from an insane early game loss. And Nightmare is back to the drawing board for them. It was looking so good for them, but unfortunately it wasn't enough.
Tough game there. Again, it looked like it would be, you know, somewhat even for the most part. That early game was going well for Nightmare Esports. They had great, actually, composition. You know, I loved what they had, and when they tried to get the combination off with the Implosion, with the Sandstorm, with the Blazing Duet, it would have worked great, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. They got too far behind, and they weren't able to catch back up there.
They couldn't make it throughout the game. They couldn't make it until the end. Team Nightmare have fell down to the momentum of Team SMG. Team SMG used every opportunity possible to get the best use out of the game, and they have got the first point, and it might be a match point for Team SMG.
It's definitely one more game to go right here. Unless, of course, Team Nightmare can adjust. Because, like you mentioned, Naisu, it was looking so good in the early game. But I think the mid-game, where things are a bit more random, where things aren't always, default, right? Laning phase, everyone goes to their lanes, does their job, that's great. But the mid-game is a bit more adjustable. And I think that's where Team SMG showed a difference in experience, and they're able to actually outmaneuver the members of Team Nightmare. Even though they were losing in kills, they were still able to get towers. They're still able to get a farm advantage. And I think overall, when that's the case throughout the whole game, eventually the goal difference is gonna look pretty significant.
Yeah, it was significant, and at the same time, one of the things that you can see there from that game is they really could not solve the issue of how can they get past Miko. When we were comparing earlier the two roamers here, for example, that's the thing. Miko just had a better time zoning out who he had to be. He got the right targets, which allowed the snowball to happen much quicker, and it just was difficult, at that point, for them to really find an answer. A lot of times, even too easy for Lexi, couldn't get close enough to the objective because of the fact that Miko was planting himself right there. So those are some things that Nightmare Esports can actually learn from and kind of adjust, hopefully, for game number 2.
Yeah, they had a good early game. But after the early game, everything just started to fall down. Everything just started to look bad or worse for Team Nightmare. They couldn't continue that momentum. So let's see together who is the MVP of the first match. And here we will see it after seeing that Yuzong skin. MVP of the match, Stormy from Team SMG.
A 7-0 and 6 KDA. No, 87% kill participation. He was just a big portion, a big problem for Team Nightmare, and it's exactly why Team SMG were able to actually get a roam lead, even though they're actually behind on gold, even though Team Nightmare are the ones aggressing, but he's always able to just clear the lane so much faster, abusing the Lilia, and in the middle of a big team fight, if he has not locked down and focused down, he can just purify and still output an insane amount of damage, which is why, even though there's a Nether Realm used from Team Nightmare, it just wasn't enough unless you can get Stormy or maybe Sasa, right? Shut down one of the big carries. And this is the result, man. The MVP of the game. Definitely a well-deserved one.
You know what I loved about this? And it's not just the stats here, right? It's not just because he's 7-0 and 6. But the fact is, if you go back and look at the game, I know we're going to look at highlights here in just a second. You're going to see his placement. His placement was clutch here, Arashi.
It was really, really good. And let's take a look at some of the highlights here, brought to you by Grab Unlimited. Looking here, this is like one of the earlier fights, and you can see that there's a bit of disconnect here with how Team Nightmare really wants to approach these fights. They keep going in, not together, but one by one, and sometimes the spells don't even land in synergy. So in contrast to that, as you mentioned, Naisu, SMG really seems like they have a plan going through most of these fights, and they know who they're going to target and how they're trying to go in or out of the fight after the initial action has elapsed.
And you can call it whatever you want. The performance of Team Nightmare was really good, but the performance of Team SMG was just unforgettable. And throughout this highlights, we can see how much Team SMG was on point.
And here, look at that. I mean, they're just grouping together, and the Lilia damage, man, you just cannot ignore it. And in the previous fight, was Sasa as well, just left up. So they have great combos, but the combos are landing on the members that Team SMG are happy to essentially give up in exchange for a winning dominant fight. And afterwards, with Sasa just getting the items, getting more power spikes, that's what we're talking about.
Look at Stormy here. This is what I'm talking about. Even with that Wombo combo from Nightmare, he's just there on the edge, right? He's just unleashing, and it was a great combination, like I said, from Nightmare Esports. They had a lot of those. The Implosion, the Sandstorm, the Blazing Duet, but unfortunately, they weren't able to actually catch Stormy either, so he was just usually sitting on the side, unleashing, and he scaled up so quickly because of an amazing early game that he had.
Yeah, he's just like standing for and controlling the strings and moving everything around for Team SMG.
I think it's great, man. I think the targeting for Team Nightmare definitely needs some work right here. Because even in the earlier fight, it's not just Stormy, man. Sasa as well. It's just left out of control right here. So I think they have to try and ration out their crowd control. It's great if you can get a huge Wombo combo onto like 5 people. But if that doesn't include the main carries, I think you have to save one of the crowd control for someone else. And eventually, with how much goal ahead they are, like almost 10K at this point, it's only a matter of time before Nightmare, with their mid-game snowball composition, just start to fall off.
Yeah, and even though at the late game there was a really good moment where Tiger had like 3 into his ultimate, he just couldn't deal with the amount of damage, or like his team couldn't make an output damage that was enough to get the best use out of this ultimate.
By the way, usually we see Khalid's come in with a more aggressive emblem set, but here he goes with the Concussive Blast and the Festival of Blood, so a bit more utility focused. And unfortunately, in this game, he was just forced to go 1v1, 1v2, where maybe the more aggressive emblem build would actually benefit him for maybe going for a 1-for-1 trade. But with the utility build, he's just forced to always stay together in these big team fights, and he can't really go head-to-head against Smooth in the laning phase and after. So that could be something they can try and use as well, right? If they want to get a strong EXP laner, also play around him a bit more and use him to snowball. Because if he was ahead, then maybe there's a chance for Team SMG to have Smooth taken away from the fight due to the superior 1v1 potential.
What do you think was the moment for Team SMG to get in control and to get in charge of everything?
I believe it's that one fight where initially, right, the Implosion Sacred Hammer combo just pushes everyone away from the Raging Sandstorm. That was a bit unfortunate. And in doing so, they're just fighting in the jungle, clumped up together, right? That is also something they can try and reduce, because they have a lot of mobility, man. The Faramis has the Stampede. You can have a Battle Mirror image coming in from the Claude as well. So every single one of the heroes from the side of Nightmare actually have dashes. So if they can play around that and avoid the AoE coming in from SMG, I think they can have great potential. But looking at the item builds, I mean, look at Sasa, man. He is quiet in the early to mid stage of the game, but he has the most gold right here. He was just farming a storm whenever it's a objective take. Sometimes SMG back away, but when they're doing so, they're contesting it and just trying and do something with 4 members, and they're allowing Sasa to just farm up a storm on the other side of the map.
But what's interesting for me, if the game went a little bit further for Team Nightmare, I think that by that wombo combo between the Tiger and the Claude, something might have changed for Team Nightmare.
Well, looking at the cards right here, the rich guy is Sasa, as we've already mentioned. The carry, of course, is Stormy. This is why right now, with the Clock of Destiny also not really a core item, a lot of mages are just transitioning into that secondary carry instead of just being more of a utility. Because for the longest time, it's all about clearing the wave and then helping out your jungler or helping out your side laners. Now, it's also about being able to actually output that damage, and sometimes you can even do more damage than your gold laner in the late game, depending on what pick you go for.
Interesting thing here, too, is, like I said, Miko, right? I know it's called the Forgotten One, but this man was, you can't forget him. He was everywhere where he needed to be, right? Even at one point, like Dax, you said, it wasn't the way of the dragon anymore, it was the way of the Miko, because every target he found is exactly who they needed at that given moment, right? To lead them into an objective, to lead them into a tower take, to lead them into a better team fight situation. And that kind of happened, that fell in place, right? And if you look back at the draft, aside, well, you can kind of say Guinevere could be a roam, right? So it could have gone in the hands of Miko too. It was literally hack of Miko, right? All the bans were all towards Miko. But because he picked up, you know, it's almost like, yeah, you can ban all these heroes, but I still got the Cho there, right? Almost every roamer has this Cho pick that allows them to dictate the pace of the game.
I think it's great that you can't really just expect to just target ban one person and get away with it, right? It has to be a bit more strategic, a bit more planned, because now the hero pools of all these players, it's not that simple, you know. It's not like they only play 3 heroes, and without those 3, they're done. They have a lot more options available. And if you look at the teamfight participation here, I think what's noteworthy is, of course, the 100% teamfight participation here from Cammy, but it's also showing that, for the most part, for Nightmare, they're just willing to go for a full-on team fight, whereas for SMG, they're very happy to go for a 1v1, a 2v1. And the fact that Miko was able to find all those pickoffs is part of why Team Nightmare, towards the end there, they were just so concerned on where they were going to go, where they should be positioning, because if they're not careful, Miko will find a pickoff yet again. So when they're stuck together like that, you're going to lose out in the macro department.
Yeah, it wouldn't look so good when things just like fall down. And Team Nightmare at a certain point fell down, or like they lost track of their ideas. And at that exact moment, that's where SMG controlled and dominated the whole game. So after this game and after knowing that Team SMG will be on match point,